Hi and welcome back to Train by Aaron. It's another bot build, I'm afraid, but with a twist this time. What if one of the many Marvel multiverses, all the superhero were robots? It got me thinking long and hard, could I make a superhero robot? So guess what? I tried, and this is my take on that. So for the start of the build, I rescued an air freshener that had come to its end of life and pondered for about 10 minutes before deciding on giving it a new lease of life. And just like a Kardashian, I decided to give it a little surgery to help it fit into my robotic world. After giving its flat underside a little facelift, it was onto the legs. Now in the comics, Wolverine's around about 5 foot, 5'2", is short and stocky, not the Hugh Jackman, beefy and handsome and a manly man. Anyway, I purchased a couple of cheap and nasty water pistols, and making sure to gut it like a fish, scooped out all the greeblies and then started to cut it apart. See, the plastic was hard and brittle, just like my 4th grade math teacher, but I'm a man's man and used brute force and ignorance until the plastic gave way. After trimming and giving it a little nip and tuck, hopefully you'll have seen this technique I use for giving for gluing the gap of the legs on my previous builds. If you haven't and you're a newbie, hi, hello, bonjour, good day. You have impeccable good taste for stopping by and with your well manly manicured fingers hitting that like and subscribe button. Thank you. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. I just used some of the felt foam just to cover the insides, and then it was onto spoons. Just bog standard spoons, nice and tacky. Cut them apart, stick them onto the bottom as the feet. And as you can see, I'm using a fast bond activator that came with the glue. The only positive I've got using this activated spray is no mess, unlike after using the baking powder, which makes my cutting mat look like an hors d'oeuvre plate used by Lindsay Lohan. Allegedly. So after sticking the spoons onto the legs, it was then time for sticking the legs onto the body. And as you can see, I'm just lining everything up and already made a boo-boo just 3.5 minutes into the build. So I found I had to do some corrective surgery, a little nip and tuck like Katie Price, to get the right leg, which is your left side, on as you're looking at this, which is my right as I'm doing this. No, hang on now. Anyway, I corrected it, made the gap, stuck the leg in. So after that, it was bead time for the arms. Now, those eagle-eyed viewers will have already noticed that I'd stuck 2 foam beads either side of the robot as shoulders, which will be pulled off later and substituted faster than Harry Maguire can run 50 yards for Manchester United with wooden beads, simply because the wire going into the foam beads kept falling off, causing me to swear like a trooper, and I was auditioning for a Guy Ritchie film. As you can see, I've used super glue so far and also strong PVA glue. which still didn't work. While I left the arms trying to dry, but they were refusing to cooperate, I grabbed more foam and cut out Wolverine's trademark claws and his eyepieces. Now I'm basing the design on the old yellow and brown version, even though it's yellow and blue at the end. I like this version, the yellow and blue, as I remember reading issue 180 of The Incredible Hulk, where Logan wore that colour design, and it's stuck with me ever since. A little geeky fact, does anybody remember when Wolverine wore like a mask which had whiskers and a strange nose piece? Yeah, they kind of dumped that look and then changed over to the yellow and brown look that we got at the end of the Wolverine film with Hugh Jackman. As you can see, I've ripped off the foam beads, which made it a lot easier to put the eyepiece on. So I just stick the eyepiece on and then use some more little stripes for the side of his body. Once all that is done, I then use a little bit more of the foam just to correct the gap that's on the right hand side of his leg from the botched nip and tuck surgery from earlier in the build. So, like I said, there's no real measurements here. I'm just cutting out what looks good, cutting the strips out for the side of his body, and then I'll glue them on. And then once all that is done, I then glue on his arms with the new wooden bead that replaced the very bad idea of the foam bead. I actually filled in the holes of the bead, because I used them the other way around, with a bit of blue tack and then some of the acrylic filler, just to give it sort of a little bit of a smooth texture. The flat bit on his body is soon sorted with a tyre left over from a previous build, and then I start to glue the blades to his stumps before I break out false nails to square off his shoulders. Now the false nails are actually false toenails. I found a fresh box deep down in one of my Greedley boxes and thought I'd just square off the shoulders just to give it a little bit more of a beefy feel to the model. And these are the same toenails that I used for the Star Wars Gunslinger. Once I made sure all the glue was dry, I then primed him with a grey before painting him with a yellow sunflower, before realising it was too dull, so I had to repaint it all with a Naples yellow, which was a lot brighter and more to the colour of his costume. Once the yellow had dried, I then went around with the black just to colour everything that was black before going on to the blue for the other bits. I used ice white for the trademark comic book White Eyes before using a gunmetal just to go over his arms and his blades, and Wolverine was good to go. So just before the glamour shots start, I just wanted to say thanks very much for watching, stopping by. Perhaps if you could give this video a like, even subscribe if you've not subscribed yet, and tell your friends, try and make the channel grow. And after the glamour shots, there'll be a little credit just so you can see what I'm going to attempt to build next week for my robot Marvel multiverse. Until then, keep scratching that build, everyone.